So unfortunately, we can now see that many of the people that could initiate these investigations seem to be running interference for Trump and even Epstein instead, as the FBI's position is still that Epstein was only guilty of acts with underage girls, but not trafficking. And I don't know how he's moving these girls around without trafficking them, but that's the key difference with the 2005 arrest. That term, trafficking, inherently implicates this whole network or a ring that they'd have to investigate, including anyone who knowingly procured them, facilitated their transportation, from anyone he bribed or had a personal relationship with in customs and immigration enforcement, gynecologists, dentists, doctors, stylists, anyone at a party with a known trafficked girl. And by the way, that last group, that's the list. Even if it's not formally written down, some subset of those people are implicated. Law enforcement investigation step 1, you secure the presence of a trafficked victim at a high-profile party. You'd have to eventually interview victims, but my guess is, after everything we talked about, that is possible. Real estate moguls, the Alexander brothers, are in these files doing heinous things at such parties and are currently in jail for trafficking, for instance. Step 2, you pull flight logs from everyone in those files known to be at parties with Epstein, which the government already tracks. Step 3, you interrogate the hell out of that list of very rich and powerful men at that party, make them turn on each other, and suddenly your list gets smaller. Eventually, you'll get a short list of big names, which in retrospect could include Prince Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, Woody Allen, Bill Clinton, Steve Tisch, Larry Summers, Bill Gates, Brett Radner, Howard Lutnick, and of course, inconveniently, the most implicated name in all of the files, in the files more than 1 million times, according to Representative Thomas Massie, President Donald J. Trump. And to be clear, I'm not saying Trump was at any parties as a prominent political figure. Let's say he's smarter than that. He had written on his jet 8 times, but a lot of rich people share jets. I think it's more likely that Trump and Epstein used each other's networks at a distance since the height of their friendship in the late 80s and 90s, and that they may well have had mutual blackmail on one another. But again, without any investigation, this is just extrapolation. So if Pam Bondi, who refused to prosecute Epstein as Florida AG, or Kash Patel, who wrote a children's book about Donald Trump being a king, say are more loyal to the head of state than the Constitution, then they're going to subvert their broad prosecutorial discretion to that head of state, which, coming up on the 250th anniversary of the United States, is a complete betrayal of every founding principle. But it also means that we have to add names like Donald Trump, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi to the list of those running interference for Epstein, along with names like Woody Allen, Steve Bannon, and even Noam Chomsky, who gave him publicity advice and called him his best friend. The way everyone in these files are animated by the power of friendship, like they're all characters in My Little Billionaire Pony that went to camp together last summer, is really something to behold. Anyway, at this point, in a perfect world, which I hope it's perfectly clear by now we do not have, there's really 5 avenues of potential investigation and prosecution. There's 1, interference, 2, horse traders and political agents, 3, financiers, 4, espionage, and 5, co-conspirators. And the Venn diagram for these 5 categories is fucking nuts when you think about it. Here, I made a graphic about it. Because all of them intersect, and every agent within one could overlap with several other categories. And out of all of these, what's most difficult to investigate is the implications on espionage networks, which many officials are now punting to and not releasing more, despite the fact that Epstein's connections and trafficking expertise make him a perfect access asset for intelligence agencies. And if he was involved in some way or another with the Iran-Contra affair, he would have had connections with Mossad and the CIA and maybe British intelligence going back to the 80s. Does that mean Mossad has whatever information Epstein had on Trump? If he did have anything on Trump? Could they leverage it at some point for, say, a war with Iran? Or is that information already out there with this law? Another important question on our espionage networks: if the FBI and DOJ can't be trusted to mount investigations on such clear crimes, how can we trust the CIA has sufficient internal accountability apparatuses or hasn't been compromised in some important way by Mossad?